calling all forward-thinking estheticians. It's time to redefine the art of skincare and embrace a revolutionary approach that begins with your client's skin cell health. I'm pharmacist Benjamin Knight Fuchs, welcoming you to Truth Treatment Systems, where beauty begins at the cell. We believe you're not just a beauty professional, you are a healthcare professional. You want to make a positive difference and you want to make a good living, and we will help you do both. We're here to support your out-of-the-box thinking and empower you to question traditional products, outdated formulations, and old-school ingredients. Imagine a world where solutions to the skin's enigmatic conditions lie just beyond the horizon. At Truth, we're not just a skincare brand, we're a movement that encourages you to explore better solutions and find that aha moment that changes the game. You are an artist and a healer of the skin, and we're here to provide the canvas and the tools for you to create tailored protocols, leaving generic ones in the past. Sign up now at truthtreatmentspro.com and receive 2 complimentary mineral-rich electrolyte sheet masks. That's truthtreatmentspro.com, where healthy skin is beautiful skin.
Reverse aging and boost collagen with Rhonda Allison Skincare. Peptides help increase collagen and elastin, reducing fine lines, wrinkles, loss of elasticity, and increasing firmness. RA Skincare has created several peptide serums ideal for photoaging due to years of UV exposure, toxic environments, and premature and general aging. Our serums are perfect for restoring and maintaining moisture and hydration levels within the skin. Whether you have sensitive, normal, or severely photo-aged skin, RA Skincare has a cutting-edge peptide just for you. Learn more at rhondaallison.com.
Hello and welcome to ASCP's Esty Talk. I'm your co-host Maggie Staszcuk and ASCP's Education Program Manager.
And I'm Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, certified organic skincare formulator, international educator, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals.
We thought it may be interesting and enlightening to discuss some of the many legislative bills and rule proposals that have cropped up across the U.S. in the last year. Every state is so different when it comes to rules and regulations, and scope of practice can be really challenging.
Let's talk about some facts, because I think I see it all the time. Am I allowed to? Is this legal? So before we talk about that, let's talk about the regulatory boards, the legislative process as concerning our industry, and some facts. Did you know the state board exists to serve the consumer and not the esthetician?
I think that is forgotten. So many people call asking questions. They say they've reached out to their state board. They're not getting the answers that they need. And while the state board is there to assist and they do write the rules and regulations, really they're there, as you just said, to protect the consumer.
So keeping them safe. And that is important. And that's why a lot of, like Colorado, for example, makeup artists have to be licensed skincare persons so that they're proven to have gone through sanitation to protect the customer. Fact number 2, most laws passed are written at a level of complexity that it can be difficult for the layperson to understand. I know that I've experienced that. I've seen people be perplexed by this. And with that, clarifying these laws becomes the responsibility of the state board and the regulatory agencies, not necessarily the person reading it, which is why, to your point, people are calling, how can you help me understand this? How do I know what I can and can't do? Really common.
Yeah, and I will point out that you will hear often when you call the state board, they may say, we can't clarify this for you. We can't interpret this for you. And that could be 1, based on the person answering the phone, and 2, they're not a lawyer. So while they have written the rules and regulations, they're not going to interpret it over the phone for you. And so to get the answer that you're looking for, you may need to actually hire an attorney or do your own interpretation.
I think those are great key points, because the other thing that's happened is I called and I was told. I think one of the most frustrating phrases in the world is I was told. I hate that. I was told blah, blah, blah. But you can call our state board and get 2 different answers depending on who's answering. It could be a concise answer one time and a vague answer the next, or it could be red one time and blue the next. And so it is important. I like the idea of actually having a lawyer review specific questions. And there's a lot of subscription type services that you can really not a bad idea as a business owner anyways. But here's some other fun facts is some states have a 2-year legislative process where they would change rules or review different processes. Other states meet annually, and some Western state legislatures meet every other year. Very interesting when you're looking at, like, have you ever seen a rule change meeting where they have all of these different rules proposed, and then oftentimes they're struck through, and maybe a fourth of them make it to the actual decision part, and the rest of them go to the next turn. As of 2019, all 50 states have passed individual aesthetics licensure. So before that, what was it? Wrapped up in cosmetology?
Yeah, wrapped up in cosmetology. And I believe there was just one state, Connecticut, that did not have an aesthetics licensure.
That changed recently.
It did, yeah.
That's right. Okay. The average number of individuals on a board is 7. In Washington, D.C. and Tennessee, they have the largest boards with a total of 14 members on each. I can imagine in those areas, decisions are hard to get to with that many people and those opportunity for that many opinions. And then finally, a really important fact is that ASCP has a government relations department. So if you're confused about an issue or feel stuck and want guidance, you can reach out to ASCP. They can help.
So let's jump into some states that over the last 6 months has proposed some changes. In Oregon, in 2021, the legislature adopted House Bill 2970, clarifying scope of practice for estheticians. Since then, the Board of Cosmetology and the Board of Certified Advanced Estheticians have worked to define the term device. Now, proposed rules have been issued to explain the term device and its distinctive use in aesthetics. So let's dive into this a little bit. The proposed rules. An esthetician would be limited to performing services with mechanical or electrical apparatuses, appliances, or devices that do not penetrate beyond the epidermis except through natural physiological effects. So galvanic, high frequency, microcurrent, LED, microdermabrasion, and other devices. So these are a lot of those basic services that estheticians are learning in aesthetic school. Estheticians would be prohibited from performing advanced, non-ablative aesthetic procedures unless licensed as a quote-unquote advanced esthetician. So this is going to be things like laser, IPL, radiofrequency, microneedling, etc.
Because in Oregon, they have 2 levels of licensure.
They do, yeah.
So there's I don't want to say basic, but there's an esthetician and then an advanced esthetician, and it's an hour requirement difference.
Yeah, correct.
So the advanced esthetician, and I think I've seen that happening more in different states where before I only knew about it in 1. Now I know about at least 3 with 1 on the way.
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, there's about 5 to 7 states that have a master or advanced aesthetic licensure.
Interesting. Let's talk about Mississippi. So Mississippi shaves dermaplaning regulations effective September 1st of this year. Any license holder regulated by the board, so that is not just estheticians, but those who perform hair care and nail care and hair removal, they can now perform dermaplaning with a guarded razor. Before, licensees were prohibited from practicing dermaplaning.
I think it's important to point out that this is specifically with a guarded razor, where in other states, dermaplaning can be performed with what's traditionally used, a scalpel.
I wonder because that's what you buy, those at-home ones you can get at Ross.
Yeah.
Or you can even see it as seen on TV aisle at Walgreens. They're guarded razors, but they say dermaplaning on them. So I wonder what would be the selling point in those states for the professional application of that. Maybe combining services at some point.
Yeah, or maybe it's crossing into a quote-unquote medical procedure because it's the use of a scalpel.
Yeah, interesting. And so California, similarly, last year, was it last year or the year before, they just allowed that estheticians to perform it too. So it's coming out.
In North Carolina, they seek input on proposed civil penalties. The Board of Barber and Electrolysis Examiners proposed new rules in July that would establish potential civil penalties for unlicensed individuals practicing electrology and other related light-based treatments. The rules also suggest possible civil penalties for non-compliant electrology schools. I think this is really interesting because electrology, at least where I am here in Colorado, is not a popular procedure. You have so many more people doing laser. It must be more popular in North Carolina, or perhaps you have a lot of people that are illegally performing electrolysis.
Was my question. What's going on in North Carolina that there's zapping hair follicles because they have schools and there's unlicensed people performing the service? Something had to happen.
Yeah.
I want to know the tea on that one. So something that is interesting, in Delaware, apprenticeship rules enable multiple pathways to work. Let's dive in. In June of this year, the Delaware Board of Cosmetology and Barbering released final rules that established standards and requirements for aesthetic cosmetology, barbering, nail technology, and electrology apprenticeships. These apprenticeships provide the opportunity to earn and learn alongside seasoned practitioners with a professional license in view. This is not an uncommon practice in hair. You see them, what do they call them? They do call them apprentices, where they'll go through a certain amount of school, and rather than be on the floor, as they call it, or whatever in hair school, they will have some salons that will bring them in and teach them that way. And they're earning tips, or they're earning there's tiered pricing for that level. Interesting that this would be for all levels, which is awesome. An aesthetics apprentice teacher is responsible for ensuring their apprenticeship completes the 1,200-hour curriculum. So making sure their hours are there and such. Some things that are part of that 1,200 hours are sanitation and hygiene, professional practices, health and science, consultation and record keeping, machines, apparatuses and safety, skincare procedures, makeup, state laws, job search, and business skills. So imagine a lot of that has to stay in school. And then some of those, the consultation, for example, would be outside of school. I think this is a really great opportunity, not only to learn from another professional, but to really increase the types of clients that you would potentially be exposed to, and also the types of conditions, and not just skin conditions, but consultative, retail, different business aspects versus I used to host a lot of interns previously, and they were only allowed to oversee or to watch over my shoulder or to fold towels. So I think this is really cool. Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
DMK is unlike any skincare company on earth. Named after visionary founder Danae Montague King, DMK is committed to providing individualized products and treatment plans that heal skin on the cellular level, whether the condition concerns pigmentation, acne, inflammation, or signs of aging. DMK is home to the original enzyme mask, the game-changing formula that sends oxygenating, tightening, and exfoliating signals into the skin to enact changes in skin structures from the inside out. DMK's business is built on empowering estheticians with education. The DMK Tool Belt and Remove, Rebuild, Protect, and Maintain concept allow estheticians to be flexible when treating clients and bringing their best skin forward. At DMK, we believe everyone deserves to feel the confidence that comes with healthy, beautiful skin. Learn more at DanaeMKing.com. That's DANNEM Do you want to give your clients clear, glowing skin for good? Look no further than Face Reality Skincare, 3-time winner of Best Acne Line in ASCP's Skin Deep Reader's Choice Awards. As the #1 professional acne brand, Face Reality offers estheticians the most comprehensive online acne training to learn how to identify and treat even the most stubborn acne cases. Learn to use Face Reality's holistic treatment protocol, which includes in-clinic treatment, customized home care, and lifestyle guidance. Visit pros.facerealityskincare.com today to get started.
Okay, here we go. Let's get back to the podcast.
In Nevada, they are revamping laws and leaving no license category unaffected. Effective June 1, Senate Bill 249 makes changes to practice and licensing requirements for professionals that fall under the purview of the Nevada State Board of Cosmetology. So this bill is affecting advanced estheticians, cosmetologists, your standard esthetician license, makeup artists, hair braiders, threaders, cosmetic demonstrators, instructors, and hair designers. Everything. The most important changes are including revising medical procedures permitted by advanced estheticians and the devices they can use, modifying the definitions of cosmetology, aesthetics, and makeup artistry, and this is to incorporate additional services these professionals may perform, overhauling the practice and licensing of hair braiding, including eliminating training requirements and replacing the establishment license they must obtain, and eliminating the demonstration of cosmetics license.
They are not messing around.
They are not, no.
And they're not even grandfathering anybody in.
No, yeah.
So if you've been a standard esthetician for 20 years working in a med spa, you have to go back and get your advanced esthetician license.
Yeah. Let's look at aesthetics with this law specifically. So with advanced aesthetics and quote unquote medical devices, this bill revises the list of services that are considered advanced aesthetic procedures to include medium depth chemical peels. Medium depth chemical peels are defined as the removal of skin from the epidermis and papillary dermis layers using chemical peels applied directly to the skin. And the bill removes the following procedures from the list of advanced aesthetic procedures: exfoliation, microdermabrasion, and related services, dermaplaning, extraction, and hydrotherapy. And these services are now within scope for cosmetologists and estheticians. The current list of advanced medical procedures is microneedling, medium-depth chemical peels, non-ablative aesthetic procedures, and other similar aesthetic preparations or procedures with the use of the hands or mechanical or electronic apparatus.
I know the perception has been all peels. They've the standard esthetician feels like all peels are off limits. So it's interesting to see this defined here as medium depth peels, and can't wait to watch. It's been a couple months at this point. I can't wait to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah. What's interesting too is that cosmetologists and estheticians may now perform laser hair removal, extraction, hydrotherapy, exfoliation that does not remove skin below the stratum corneum, microdermabrasion, and dermaplaning.
Well, proper training is very important, especially when we're working around the eyes. So really excited to see that in Tennessee, there is now an eyelash specialist license required. The Tennessee legislature adopted House Bill 103 in July. In the interest of public safety and elevating the profession, individuals who are providing or want to begin offering eyelash extension services must obtain an eyelash specialist license to practice. House Bill 103 defining eyelash services details the 300-hour training requirements, then establishes criteria for an eyelash services shop. Really interesting. I'm glad to see it. I wonder what makes up those 300 hours. Do you think it's practicing and sanitation?
Yeah. I imagine it's all the things that you would find in other licensures. I also think it's interesting and something to point out. More and more states are adding a separate license for eyelashes. It's becoming such a popular thing. It's a license in and of itself.
I think that's great, especially for those who want. I think there's two sides. For those who just want to perform eyelash services, I think this is a great avenue. And for those, the reason I say there's two sides is I remember, like we've talked about before, when I would teach, when I was a brand representative and I would go to schools and talk to them about things, I would ask the question, what made you want to come to school for aesthetics? And for those students in the beginning of their program, the answer was often wildly different from at the end of their program. So I remember particularly, I came because I wanted to learn makeup because that was a requirement here. But at the end, they're like, I love corrective, I want a chemical peel, or I like an eyelash extension. So that does take away that opportunity. But at the same time, 300 hours is a lot of time. So you're definitely expanding on any opportunity you'd learn in school as an esthetician or cosmetologist, but more. So I think it's interesting. I can't wait to see how that affects other states.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. In Arizona, they also have adopted an apprenticeship pathway to licensure. In April, they adopted House Bill 2525, which establishes aesthetics, hairstylists, and nail technician apprenticeship instruction requirements. And essentially, the bill creates an alternative pathway to licensure that allows students to gain real-world, hands-on experience while they learn outside the standard classroom setting. The rules have not yet been developed.
One of the things that I really appreciate, because there's so many different states with so many different requirements, and I'm lucky enough to be in a position to talk to estheticians all over. And what I find is a great resource is not only the articles that come out from ASCP, the blogs and stuff. It really helps keep things on track, but also to learn that there's a department dedicated to helping navigate these changes.
Another really great benefit that ASCP has to offer is our legislative toolkit. So if you are a member, you can log in, access the legislative toolkit, and we're going to provide you with email templates, voicemail templates, and how you can find out who your legislative lobbyist is and how to elevate your voice in the industry if you're concerned about bills that are being passed that you don't agree with, or even if you do agree with, to let your state know and support your industry.
The level of professionalism, I love it. Awesome.
Now, listeners, we want to hear from you. We encourage you to advocate or voice your opinions to influence change. Share with us on social media through Instagram, Facebook, or by emailing getconnected@ascpskincare.com. Thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk. And as always, for more information on this episode, or for ways to connect with Ella and myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes.